Welcome back to another video, and this is Sonic Mania without pressing left, part 2. If you haven't seen the other video, then I suggest you go watch that. No. Okay, so this is part 2, and let's jump into Flying Battery Zone, where we left off. Okay, so Act 1, kind of easy. Not the hardest thing in the world. I mean, it is kind of hard, because it is the fourth zone in the game, but I did experience not that much trouble. Yeah, it's a pretty easy zone, and when you go back inside, it can get a little harder because you traverse through the outside. But if you collect a lightning shield, that's just gonna mess up your life, man. Don't collect that. Don't collect the lightning shield. It's just gonna mess you up. It's just gonna mess you up. Why would you do it? Why? Anyway, I climbed this wall and then I just climbed it for no reason. And also I found a pretty weird glitch, but we'll get to that later. I got a ring box and some invincibility, and these bridge blocks were kind of annoying and hard to navigate sometimes, but with a couple tries I can get past them easily. Not too much, but talking about the glitch, I did find a weird glitch. So after you get past this part and then spin dash your way to the top and climb more walls. And I should have not gotten that lightning shield, but talking about the glitch, what? Anyway, so then after we complete the rest of the level, we get to the boss, which surprisingly is really hard. It took me so many tries to complete, and I died a couple times, but the problem is that it just squeezes up too much. Then when it's the final stretch and you need to get the last of your hits, it is already too late, and that gravitron thing just shuts it closed and then you die. But after so many tries, so many fails, and jumping on the enemies and bouncing off the enemies, this close to dying, I beat the boss. And you want to know something cool? I beat the boss before super easily, then I realized I wasn't recording, so I had to go and do that again. Anyway, the rest of Act 2, which is basically just starting, is pretty easy, not too hard. Maybe I just did this weird jump and climb thing, even though I could have just climbed the wall. Why did I do that? And I got stuck at this point, and this chicken surprised me, and it's also like I've seen the egg. That was a pun. Anyway, once we get past that part, we are gonna get into grabby hands, I guess, and then foil through the trash a little bit, and then we're on the spinny bars things, and on this section, you have to get damage boost by the spikes in order to get through. So if you have 0 rings, then you're doomed there. And then we reach the boss. This might be one of the hardest bosses in the entire game. It took me lots and lots of tries. But it is kind of easy at some times. But then once we defeat the boss, it's super simple, and look at Knuckles. And yes, I am pressing left, but I'm just showing you. Anyway, after we defeat the boss, we can move on to Press Garden Zone. And I feel like it's a lot harder than the last one. The hardness, difficulty between the last zone and this zone is insane. I mean, you have to go up this little tube thing, but then you realize that route you took is actually impossible. Then you have to restart the entire level, and then you have to go and do the entire level again, and then take a completely different route, and for some reason not press right to go up hills. I mean, that's what I did. That's what I like doing, I guess. And then, once you reach a specific area, this area, it took me a while to figure out what to do because I thought I needed the jump, but Knuckles' jump is lower than Sonic's, Tails, Mighty's raise. And then I found out if you cling onto the wall and then do a jump, you can actually get up there and then jump from there and then continue on with the level. And that took me a while to figure out, like 15 tries maybe. And then this part over here is surprisingly hard as well. I mean, not surprisingly, I knew this was gonna come eventually. I mean, it's really hard, and you're not facing to the left. So, if you do that, then you can somehow manage to face to the left, then continue on from there, and the blocks aren't cooperating. And then there are these crushy things, which aren't too big of a deal to deal with. And once we get to the boss, and no, I did not turn left, it's just a cutscene, so it automatically turned me left. I did not press left at all. The Shiver Saw, despite its cool name, it's actually really easy in normal play. But turns out it's like the second hardest boss in this game. It took me way more tries than the Flying Battery boss, and for almost everybody who plays it, other than me, it's probably easy. I mean, like, yeah, it's just hard. But I did find a cool technique where you can just camp out right here, and then it will automatically break it, and then you can just sort of farm him, and then just keep doing that till he dies. Well, technically it's not a living being, but till the machine gets separated in its gears, I guess. Anyway, once we complete Act 1, we get sent into Act 2 of Press Garden, and it's really easy. Like, really easy. No, not much harder than the other zone. Just super easy. It's easiness. But there is very little things that are hard, but anyway, there are very little things that are hard, but it's not very hard. The only thing that I find even remotely close to hard is when you get to the boss, because that's the actual hard part of the challenge on this level. It's actually a challenge, but it's mainly super hard because you want to know what this boss is? For people who haven't played Sonic Mania before, it's the Heavy Shinobi. And what you gotta do is wait for him to send you all the way to the left, and then you can wait for him to come over to you and get some hits in on him. That might sound easy, but it took many tries. But then I finally clutched out and managed to somehow beat him. I mean, I knew it was possible. Like, almost every boss in the game is possible. But once we defeat Heavy Shinobi, we can get past the level, then move on to Stardust Speedway. Or should I say Stardust Fastway. But it's way harder! And even at the beginning, it's super hard. Because if you take one route, it's instantly impossible. And if you take this route, you get spat out at this route, which is impossible. So you need to very carefully maneuver around places and get to the upper path. And then it's a lot easier from there. But the start of the level should not be that hard. But the main problem is the rolly things. But right before the boss, if you jump and sling onto the wall, and then you spin dash up, then you can get up here and then go down so you're in the boss facing to the left. And it's basically impossible if you're not facing to the left. Super impossible, like super hard. But all you have to do is wait, and I mean wait, like a long time for these guys to appear, for you to be able to attack him, but then we can destroy that boss, which was a mini boss, so it shouldn't be that hard, but it kind of was. But we can destroy it, then move on to Act 2. And surprisingly, that's way easier than Act 1. Mainly at the start, it's super easy and not as hard as the start of Act 2. And I did not press left, I clinged onto a wall. And there are some rockets which I can ride. Or should I say, should I talk about oil popsicles again? No, I'm just gonna leave that one out of the video. I've already talked about that in the other video, Sonic, but he's super fast. But Stardust Speedway Act 2 doesn't have much to it. And I'm not gonna carry on what I did in the first video, like, oh, there's not much to this level. Not much to this one either. But after that, we can get to the Stardust Speedway boss. And oh, is that very, very, very hard. Very hard. Like, harder than hard. First off, you have to beat Metal Sonic to his chamber. And once you're at his chamber, you gotta sorta just defeat Metal Sonic's minions. I mean, look at that guy. Well, you just saw him. But you need to defeat his minions. Or Silver Sonic. I don't know. Is it Gray Sonic or something? Then defeat him. But the hardest part is the third phase, which is super hard. One of the hardest bosses I've done in part 2 so far. And this is going to be the last zone I'm going to do, because who knows why. But after, like, I didn't count, but maybe it was 100, maybe it was 200. After so many tries, so many fails, so many close to wins but still fails, I finally defeated that boss, and then we complete Stardust Speedway all together. And that was hard. And don't worry, Bumper Dude, you'll get your regrets later. But that was fun / frustrating. It's not that fun. It's not the funnest thing in the world, but we're nearing to the end of the act, so anyway, this is the end of the video, and I hope you enjoyed this video. It was one of my favorites that I made when I first started making videos, and I thought I'd make it, but with a little better editing, and the editing, I might have just carried the same editing from the previous one and just made it just a teensy weeny bit better, but it's not very as hard. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. So bye y'all.